Number 10, Matthew Perry's pickleball partner. It's been reported that Matthew played pickleball almost every day with a female friend, and she noticed that he had been fatigued over the last week and appeared tired on the day he died. Matthew's pickleball partner has told how she spotted scary warning signs that he was unwell just hours before his death in his hot tub. Extra host Billy Bush revealed on Instagram that his partner spotted signs he wasn't quite right. He wrote, "I spoke to the woman he played with this morning and every morning. She is in shock. She adored Matt. She said she had been fatigued today and over the past week. A little more than usual too. He played for 1 hour and then he went home." As we know, the 54-year-old star was found dead in his LA home after reportedly drowning in his hot tub. Law enforcement claims 911 dispatched responders at around 4 p.m. local time after a report of cardiac arrest. When they arrived on the scene, they began water rescue protocol after Matthew had seemingly drowned. At the time, it was reported that there were no narcotics on the scene and cops did not suspect any foul play, which many believe adds to the tragedy of his passing. Number 9, last photo ever taken. Matthew Perry last posted on Instagram 5 days before his sudden death at age 54. He shared a nighttime photo of himself inside a hot tub on Monday, October 23rd. In the caption, he wrote, "Oh, so warm water swirling around makes you feel good? I'm Mattman." If you didn't know, Mattman is a name he'd used in recent days while posting on social media, where he would often include references and images related to Batman. In the past, he said he felt a connection to the comic book hero, a wealthy but damaged man who used his grief at losing his parents as a child into helping others. He said he felt that he was also helping others by speaking out about his struggles with addiction. In fact, Matthew recently posted a picture of Batman's logo illuminated in red lights with the caption, "Sleep well everybody, I've got the city tonight." The day before the hot tub photo, he posted video of the moon with the caption, "Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? I'm Mattman." As recently as Tuesday, he posted on Twitter saying, "Let's make stigmas a stigma. I'm Mattman, hashtag mental health." But it wasn't all cryptic messages. On October 15th, he shared a rare photo of himself with his father, actor John Bennett Perry. In the caption, he wrote, "Here is me and my father John, both holding a beverage." So it seemed like he was just sharing happy memories there. Number 8, Jennifer Aniston's warning. The actress's forward warning to her friend's co-star Matthew Perry amid his alcohol addiction has now resurfaced after his sudden death. As we know, Matthew rose to fame for his role as Chandler Bing on the hit 90s sitcom alongside Jennifer, Courtney Cox, Lisa Kudrow, Matt LeBlanc, and David Schwimmer. And just last year, he revealed that he and Jennifer had stayed in each other's lives and remained in close contact. He said she was the one that reached out the most. "You know, I'm really grateful to her for that." He went on to reveal that it was just Jennifer who confronted him first about his addictions during the filming of the show, when the symptoms of his problem were just too obvious to ignore. Apparently, she approached him during a break in filming and told him, "We know you're drinking." Looking back on that moment, Matthew thought it was scary. At that point in his life, he said he should have been the toast of the town, but instead he was in a dark room meeting with nothing but dealers, and he felt completely alone. In his own mind, he thought he was doing a perfectly fine job hiding his habits from his co-stars, but at a certain point, they all knew he was in trouble and did their best to support him. Number 7, his co-stars were worried. Matthew spoke about the moment that all of his friends' co-stars found out about it. Matthew said they were all understanding and they were patient with him. Quote, "It's like penguins. Penguins in nature, when one is sick or one is very injured, the other penguins surround it and prop it up. They walk around it until that penguin can walk on its own." That's kind of what the cast did for me. For a while, he thought he could hide behind his infectious humor and push forward with his life on the wings of the success of Friends. He said, "I thought being funny all the time was how I would get through it. I thought Friends was going to fix everything, but it didn't." Ultimately, Matthew would get clean and sober in 2001, but he estimated that he relapsed 60 or 70 times over the years, according to his 2022 memoir, Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing. Along the way, he had many stints in rehabilitation facilities and suffered through a number of serious health issues, including a 5-month hospitalization in 2018 after his colon ruptured due to overuse. So he had an incredibly long battle just trying to beat his own habits, which was extremely difficult for him, as it would be for anyone. Yes, he said he had a good support system, but it's not always that simple. Number 6, the dramatic weight loss. When sharing about his substance use and the toll it began to take on his body, Matthew confessed he was taking as many as 55 pills a day, which contributed to his weight dropping to just 128 pounds. In an interview last year, he admitted that he didn't know how to stop. He also shared an analogy that explains the power that these substances had over him at the height of his TV career. He said, "If the police came over to my house and said, 'If you drink tonight, we're going to take you to jail,' I'd start packing. I couldn't stop because the disease and the addiction is progressive, so it gets worse and worse as you grow older." At his lowest point, Matthew revealed that he was given just a 2% chance to live while in the hospital. He spoke out this horrific experience in the memoir and how he had the mental strength to survive that trauma. During last year's interview, he told his story and became overcome with emotion, saying, "I'm an extremely grateful guy. I'm grateful to be alive, and that's for sure. And that gives me the possibility to do anything." He went on to reveal that part of his inspiration for writing an open and honest memoir, with all the ups and downs, was the hope that his stories could serve as kind of lifelines for others like Jennifer Aniston was for him. Number 5, hospitalization. Matthew's memoir, Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing, a candid, darkly funny book, exposed his struggles with addictions, which got so severe that in 2018, at the age of 49, he suffered a gastrointestinal perforation as a result of his extreme usage. He was given just a 2% chance of living after being comatose for 2 weeks, and the actor had to use a colostomy bag while his colon healed. Matthew revealed that while his body was relying on the bag, he woke up in a horrific state 50 to 60 times throughout the 5 months he was hospitalized. So he made it very clear that he was suffering during this time. And the worst part about all of this was his secret. All it was. Very few people knew that he was going through this. Matthew once joked that viewers of Friends could now tell that substance he was using by observing his changing appearance. He said in his book, "You can track the trajectory for my addiction if you gauge my weight from season to season. While I'm carrying weight, it's alcohol, and when I'm skinny, it's pills. When I have a goatee, it's a lot of pills," which is extremely sad when you think about how well it was hidden from everybody around him. Number 4, shocking revelations. Matthew Perry admitted 2 years ago that he had suffered from anxiety, which often came when he was trying to be as funny as can be in front of the live studio audience for Friends. The admission came up during the HBO Max Friends reunion with Jennifer Aniston, Courtney Cox, Lisa Kudrow, Matt LeBlanc, and David Schwimmer, which aired in May 2021. He said that trying to be great made him extremely nervous, and his co-stars at the reunion said they never had any idea he was suffering on set, as he always delivered such a fabulous performance while seemingly at ease. He said, "To me, I felt like I was gonna die if they didn't laugh. And it's not healthy for sure, but I would sometimes say a line and they wouldn't laugh, and I would sweat and just go into convulsions if I didn't get the laugh I was supposed to get. I would freak out." His co-star Lisa Kudrow was shocked to hear that. She said that Matthew was always such a cool cucumber, and he was one of the best on set, always delivering a line well as he played Chandler Bing. Even though he never said anything to his co-stars back then, he felt this way every single night. As we know now, his time on Friends was significantly impacted by addiction. Number 3, memoir controversy. One surprise takeaway from Matthew Perry's autobiography was his apparent feelings towards Keanu Reeves after he repeatedly questioned why other actors die while Keanu is still alive. But why is it that the original thinkers like River Phoenix and Heath Ledger die, but Keanu Reeves still walks among us? Upon learning that another former co-star, Chris Farley, had died, he wrote, "I punched a hole through Jennifer Aniston's dressing room wall when I found out. Keanu Reeves walks among us." Matthew would later apologize for the comments and released a statement saying, "I'm actually a big fan of Keanu. I just chose a random name and it's my mistake. I apologize. I should have used my own name instead." But that's not all. There were a lot of interesting admissions in his memoir. He also revealed that he asked out Jennifer Aniston before filming Friends. He explained how the two of them were the only Friends stars who knew each other before the show, having met 3 years before through mutual acquaintances. In one part of the book, he wrote, "I was immediately taken by her, and how could I not be? And I liked her, and I got the sense she was intrigued too, but maybe it was going to be something." It's safe to say that fans were more than shocked by that revelation. Number 2, celebrity reactions. In the wake of Matthew Perry's sudden death, reactions and tributes have been pouring in from the Friends community, including some of his former co-stars. Many of these amazing tributes paying homage to Perry's life and legacy both on and off screen. The official Friends account on Instagram made a post saying, "We are devastated to learn of Matthew Perry's passing. He was a true gift to us all, and our heart goes out to his family, loved ones, and all of his fans." A representative for the actor and law enforcement confirmed his death to NBC News. He was found at his home in Pacific Palisades after an apparent drowning, and he was only 54. Known best for his iconic portrayal of Chandler Bing on the long-running sitcom Friends, Matthew Perry won international recognition and critical acclaim throughout his prolific Hollywood career. Aside from Friends, he also starred in television series and films like Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip, Growing Pains, Ally McBeal, 17 Again, and Perry received an Emmy nomination in 2002 for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Comedy Series for his role as Chandler Bing, and later Emmy and Golden Globe nominations for his performance in the 2007 miniseries The Ron Clark Story. And number 1, co-stars speaking out. The actress who portrayed Chandler's ex-girlfriend Janice on the show, Maggie Wheeler, also remembered the late Matthew Perry in a statement shared with NBC News. She wrote, "Matthew was an incredibly generous actor. There was no single time I stepped onto the stage with him that I did not feel lifted by his brilliance. Even in his darkest moments, his comedic timing was impeccable." Maggie said that Matthew suffered so terribly as his book revealed to the world, and that she hopes he is at peace beyond that suffering. He died way too soon and will be missed by all who loved and knew him in life, and as the beloved Chandler Bing. Maggie also shared a tribute on Instagram alongside a photo of the two of them from the show. She wrote, "What a loss. The world will miss you, Matthew Perry. The joy you brought to so many in your too short lifetime will live on. I feel so very blessed by every creative moment we shared." In the show, Janice and Chandler were no doubt a fan favorite couple. For a recurring character who only appeared in 20 of the show's 236 episodes, Janice's relationship with the gang added a surprisingly interesting subplot to the show. And even though she ultimately didn't end up with Chandler, there are still so many people who love to see their romance unfold on screen.
Number 10, Paul Rudd. Currently Ant-Man and formerly Chandler's co-star on Friends. For the last 2 seasons of Friends, Paul played Mike Hannigan, Phoebe's husband. While he was not on the show for super duper long, he did remember his time quite fondly. In an interview with Today, he said that the entire experience was very surreal. The entire crew were a blast, and there was definitely a lot of love on the set. In fact, he said that he felt lucky to be on such a historical sitcom. There are a handful of shows that are going to go down in history as sitcom staples, stuff that will be taught in classrooms. Friends is most certainly going to be on that list. At first, he was under the impression that they only wanted him for a few episodes, but it turns out that they liked his character and just kept writing him into the show week after week. And Paul was, of course, a free agent. When hearing of the passing of Matthew Perry, Paul shared his condolences, writing that words could not express how saddened he was to hear of Matthew's passing. He will be missed so very deeply. Despite rarely seeing this man for years, there is still so much love between them, and that right there is a good friend. Number 9, Aisha Tyler. Aisha played Charlie Wheeler on Friends, the love interest to David Schwimmer, and Matt LeBlanc, who played Ross and Joey respectively. In a guest role in the 9th season, only having spent a year with the cast on and off again, she grew close to the crew and remembers Matthew as an incredible performer with a solid work ethic and a massive heart. She wrote that he had a gentleness and generosity of spirit that was unparalleled, and went on to say that she learned how to tell a joke just by watching Matthew Perry work. She said that she would never forget the moment that he leaned into her on the first night of taping her very first episode just to tell her warmly to get ready for her life to change. Rest well, Matthew Perry. Thank you for the kindness and the laughter, and I think that about sums it up. Number 8, Paget Brewster. Paget Brewster has been in so many TV shows over the years that her face should definitely be familiar to you. Whether it's Criminal Minds, the final season of Community, or the sitcom Friends, where she played Kathy before her rise to glory. Kathy was a guest character in season 4, a character who inadvertently starts a love triangle between herself, Chandler, and Joey that quickly leads to a brief one-on-one relationship with Chandler. The two were together for a while until Paget's character cheats on Chandler to spite him for accusing her of cheating. While her time on screen was rough and rocky, off screen it was apparently the exact opposite. Working with Matthew Perry was a joy and a privilege according to her, as she wrote on her Twitter that she was very sad to hear about Matthew Perry. He was was lovely to Paget on Friends and every time she saw him in the decades since. She then urged people to read his book, which I found and quickly added to my Audible wishlist because he actually narrates it himself, so I'm buying that very soon. It was his legacy to help, and she finished by saying that Matthew would not be resting in peace because he was already too busy making people laugh upstairs. Number 7, Morgan Fairchild. Morgan played a very important role on the show in the form of Chandler's mother, Nora Tyler Bing. Nora was the woman that Chandler claimed to be the reason that he used comedy as a defense mechanism because of her extracurricular activities outside of marriage. She once tried to seduce Ross, which led to a massive confrontation between herself and Perry. She posted on Twitter that she was heartbroken about the ultimate passing of her son, Matthew Perry. The loss of such a brilliant young actor is a shock, and she is sending love and condolences to his friends and his family, especially his father, John Bennett Perry, who worked with Morgan on Flamingo Road and Falcon Crest. He was a lucky man in life with a big family, both biological and not. Number 6, Maggie Wheeler, Janice from Friends. A sitcom character that will never be forgotten because once you hear her speak, you can't forget it. It just stays in your brain rent-free 24/7. What is there to say about her character? She made Chandler's life miserable, then fun, then miserable again, and just over and over and over. Being Chandler's on and off again girlfriend meant that Maggie was on set a lot and got to spend a very good portion of her life with Matthew and the rest of the friends. After hearing about his passing, she posted online clearly mourning the loss of a very close friend. She wrote, "The world will miss you, Matthew Perry. The joy that he brought to so many people in his short time on this earth will live on forever." She feels so blessed by every moment that she was able to share with him on set, and in an interview regarding Matthew earlier this year, she actually claimed that it was difficult for herself to read his memoir. He had been through so much and overcame struggle after struggle after struggle, saying that she was so proud of this man and what he had become, and that he was extremely brave to be sharing his story with the world. Number 5, the co-creators. Marta Kaufman, David Crane, and Kevin Bright are the co-creators and executive producers of Friends. Without these 3 brilliant people, the show may not exist, and if it did, who knows who would be in the cast. They shared their condolences in a joint statement on CBS News this past Sunday. They said that they were shocked and deeply saddened by their beloved friend Matthew's passing. It still seems impossible. All they can say is that they feel that their lives have been blessed for having him as a part of them. They continue to say that he was a brilliant talent, and it's cliche to say that an actor makes a role their own, but in Matthew's case, there were no truer words. From the first day that they first heard and saw him embodying the role of Chandler Bing, there was nobody else to beat him. They will always cherish the joy, the light, and the blinding intelligence that he brought to every moment. Not just his work, but in his life as well. He was always the funniest person in the room, and more than that, he was the sweetest, with a grieving, selfless heart. They send their love to his family and friends, ending by saying that this was truly the one where our hearts were broken. Number 4, Warner Brothers. The company that produced the show Friends reacted to Perry's passing in a company statement released over the weekend. The company claimed to be devastated by Matthew's passing as he was a dear friend to everyone, especially the people at the studio. Matthew was an incredibly gifted actor and an indelible part of the Warner Brothers television group family. The impact of his comedic genius was felt around the world, and his legacy will live on in the hearts of millions. It is a heartbreaking day, and they send their love to his family, his loved ones, and his devoted fans. Number 3, the main cast. So far, the main cast, Matt LeBlanc, Jennifer Aniston, Courtney Cox, Lisa Kudrow, and David Schwimmer, have yet to say anything online, but it's because they're currently preparing a release joint statement together, according to some inside sources. Let's give these guys a break, considering one of their closest friends just passed away, and there is still no real clear indication as to why or how or what happened. Like, you can speculate all you want, I don't know anything, so I'm not gonna say anything. The crew are more than likely spending their time right now just reconnecting over their loss, trying to piece together how it happened or why. But trying to piece together how or why won't help, but deciding how to move on is the only thing that they can do next. I wish I had more to say for you about this, but like I said, the cast are still grieving right now, so let's just give them a chance to chill for a minute, because the first thing that they decided to do was not post on Twitter, it was to probably hug each other. Number 2, Shannen Doherty. Though never a co-star on Friends, they were briefly co-stars together in the series series Beverly Hills 90210, but it turns out that they actually have known each other a lot longer than that. Following Matthew's passing, Shanine posted a lengthy tribute to Instagram about growing up with Matthew. Their friendship spanned a long time, a lifetime according to her. She is aware that many people are hurting, especially the small crew of them that spent time together as kids. She said that she could be more poetic in the moment, but that at the time, shock and sadness had prevailed. There is not a ton to say there, no jokes to be made, just a childhood friend missing her buddy. Taking the top spot on this list is everyone. Matthew Perry was an incredible performer, and despite his struggles in life, he was able to make a massive impact on people around the world. Now, whether it was through the show Friends, his memoir, the movie 17 again, there are so many reasons to love this man. I've personally only ever seen Friends all the way through one time, and it was a great show. Honestly, like, better than the jokes and the set was just the chemistry between the main cast. You could just tell that these people actually really cared about each other off camera. They were legit friends. Like, it's not a pun, they were friends. It's not something that everyone can say about their co-stars. Now, when I say everyone in this entry, I do mean everyone. Like, every celebrity has been posting some kind of a reaction or a condolence online. Khloe Kardashian, Hank Azaria, Tom Green, and even before filming this, I found out that Adele stopped her concert midway through over the weekend just so they could share a moment of silence and pay tribute to Matthew Perry. That is so cool. Adele stopped singing so she could be like, Chandler's gone, rest in peace. Like, who else could do that?
What happened to Matthew Perry just a couple of days ago was indeed a tragedy. The Canadian-American actor, best known for his role as Chandler being on Friends, sadly passed away over the weekend. There is currently an ongoing investigation to find out what really happened. As of right now, we know he was found in his home in Los Angeles, and he was found in his jacuzzi. There wasn't any sign of foul play or substance use aside from prescription medication, and even then, they were inside the house and not on the scene. According to Global News, it may take a couple of weeks before they get a solid answer on what exactly happened, but we now know that there was a dramatic 15-second dispatch call made that sent first responders to Matthew's home. A disturbing recording of the moment emergency services rushed to the scene has now been leaked. The audio tape refers to drowning, known as an emergency medical situation 9. Matthew Perry's assistant was the one who made the urgent 911 call after the actor suffered a cardiac arrest in his hot tub on Saturday. He was found in his hot tub connected to his pool in his backyard, but according to the Daily Mail, they reported he wasn't in the tub for long before his personal assistant found him. The assistant attempted to pull his head above the water to get oxygen, and when she realized there was no hope of breathing on his own, she tried to resuscitate him, but to no avail. LA law enforcement reported that his body had not been waterlogged when she found him, meaning he was only in there for a short time before the alleged drowning. The coroner showed up on the scene hours later and they took him awake. His remains have been given to the family and they're in the process of deciding what the best course of action will be. In the wake of this tragic passing, many celebrities are now speaking out about possible warning signs that we could have seen of the tragedy to come. It's been reported that Matthew played pickleball almost every day with a female friend, and she noticed that he had been fatigued over the last week and appeared tired on the day he died. His pickleball partner has told how she spotted scary warning signs that he was unwell just hours before his death in his hot tub. Extra host Billy Bush revealed on his Instagram that his partner spotted signs he wasn't quite right. He wrote, "I spoke to the woman he played with this morning and every morning. She is in shock, adored Matthew, and said he had been fatigued today and over the past week. A little more than usual as well. He played for 1 hour and then went home." Matthew last posted on Instagram 5 days before his sudden death at age 54. He shared a nighttime photo of himself inside a hot tub on Monday, October 23rd, and in the caption he wrote, "Oh, so warm water swirling around makes you feel good? I'm Matman." If you didn't know, Matman is a name he used in recent days while posting on social media, where he would often include references and imagery related to Batman. In the past, he said he felt a connection to the comic book hero, a wealthy but damaged man who used his grief at losing his parents as a child into helping others. He said he felt that he was also helping others by speaking out about his struggles with addiction. In fact, Matthew recently posted a picture of Batman's logo illuminated in red lights with the caption, "Sleep well, everybody. I've got the city tonight." The day before the hot tub photo, he posted a video of the moon with the caption, "Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? I'm Matman." As recently as Tuesday, he posted on Twitter saying, "Let's make stigmas a stigma. I'm Mattman, #mental health," but it wasn't all cryptic messages. On October 15th, he shared a rare photo of himself with his father, actor John Bennett Perry. In the caption, he wrote, "Here is me and my father John, both holding a beverage." So it seemed like he was just sharing happy memories here. Fans have also been looking back at other moments which almost seem like they could have foreshadowed this incident, like Jennifer Aniston's forward warning to Matthew, which has now resurfaced. As we know, Matthew rose to fame for his role as Chandler Bing on the hit 90s sitcom alongside Jennifer Aniston, Courtney Cox, Lisa Kudrow, Matt LeBlanc, and David Schwimmer. And just last year, he revealed that he and Jennifer had stayed in each other's lives and remained in close contact. He said, "She was the one that reached out the most. You know, I'm really grateful to her for that." He went on to reveal that it was Jennifer who confronted him first about his addictions during the filming of the show, when the symptoms of his problem were just too obvious to ignore. Apparently, she approached him during a break in filming and told him, "We know you're drinking." Looking back on that moment, Matthew thought it was scary. At that point in his life, he said he should have been the toast of the town, but instead he was in a dark room meeting with nothing but dealers, and he felt completely alone. In his own mind, he thought he was doing a perfectly fine job hiding his habits from his co-stars, but at a certain point they all knew he was in trouble and did their best to support him. Matthew spoke about the moment that all of his friends' co-stars found out about it. Matthew said they were all understanding and they were all patient. Quote, "It's like penguins. Penguins in nature, when one is sick or when one is very injured, the other penguins surround it and prop it up. They walk around it until that penguin can walk on its own. That's kind of what the cast did for me." For a while, he thought he could hide behind his infectious humor and push forward with his life on the wings of the success of Friends. He said, "I thought being funny all the time was how I would get through it. I thought Friends was going to fix everything, but it didn't." Ultimately, Matthew would get clean and sober in 2001, but he estimated that he relapsed 60 or 70 times over the years, according to his 2022 memoir, Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing. Along the way, he had many stints in rehabilitation facilities and suffered through a number of serious health issues, including a 5-month hospitalization in 2018 after his colon ruptured due to overuse. So he had an incredibly long battle just trying to beat his own habits, which was extremely difficult for him, as it would be for anyone. Yes, he said he had good support system, but it's not always that simple. In his memoir, which was released in November of 2022, he opened up about his struggle with the overuse of substances and how he didn't want to jeopardize the show because he loved his co-workers and the scripts, and he didn't want to let anyone down. He says that at that point in his issue, the show had really taken off and the stakes were really high, so he kept it a secret until the show ended. He was under a lot of stress and pressure because it was filmed in front of a live audience, and when the audience wouldn't laugh, he would go into full panic mode and would sometimes start sweating and convulsing. So the use of substances helped take some of the edge off. But that wasn't where the issue started though. Back when he was filming Fools Rush In, he got into a jet ski accident on set and was given pain medication that was highly addictive, which is what kicked off his unfortunate habit of using them to take the edge off. He confessed he had gone to over 6,000 AA meetings, had been in and out of rehab 15 times, and had been in detox 65 times just to get fully clean from his issues. He truly did put in the effort to get better and be in a better place in life, but even after all of this, he had residual health problems which could have been the cause of his passing as well. When sharing about his substance use and the toll it began to take on his body, Matthew confessed he was taking as many as 55 pills a day, which contributed to his weight dropping to just 128 pounds. In an interview last year, he admitted that he didn't know how to stop. He also shared an analogy that explains the power that these substances had over him at the height of his TV career. He said, "If the police came over to my house and said, 'If you drink tonight, we're going to take you to jail,' I'd start packing. I couldn't stop because the disease and the addiction is progressive, so it gets worse and worse as you grow older." At his lowest point, Matthew revealed that he was given just a 2% chance to live while in hospital. He spoke about this horrific experience in the memoir and how he had the mental strength to survive that trauma. During last year's interview, he told a story and became overcome with emotion, saying, "I'm an extremely grateful guy. I'm grateful to be alive, and that's for sure. And that gives me the possibility to do anything." He went on to reveal that part of his inspiration for writing an open and honest memoir with all the ups and downs was the hope that his stories could serve as kind of a lifeline for others, like Jennifer Aniston was for him. As we know, his memoir exposed his struggle with addictions, which got so severe that in 2018, at the age of 49, he suffered a gastrointestinal perforation as a result of his extreme usage. He was given just a 2% chance of living after being comatose for 2 weeks, and the actor had to use a colostomy bag while his colon healed. Matthew revealed that while his body was relying on the bag, he woke up in a horrific state 50 to 60 times throughout the 5 months he was hospitalized. So he made it very clear that he was suffering during this time, and the worst part about all of this was the secret it all was. Very few people knew that he was going through this, and Matthew once joked that viewers of Friends could now tell what substances he was using by observing his changing appearance. He said in his book, "You can track the trajectory for my addiction if you gauge my weight from season to season. When I'm carrying weight, it's alcohol. When I'm skinny, it's pills. When I have a goatee, it's a lot of pills," which is extremely sad when you think about how well it was hidden from everyone around him. In the wake of his sudden death, reactions and tributes have been pouring in from the Friends community, including some of his former co-stars. Many of these amazing tributes paying homage to Perry's life and legacy both on and off screen. The official Friends account on Instagram made a post saying, "We are devastated to learn of Matthew Perry's passing. He was a true gift to us all, and our heart goes out to his family, loved ones, and all of his fans." A representative for the actor and law enforcement confirmed his death to NBC News. He was found at his home in Pacific Palisades after an apparent drowning. He was only 54. Known best for his iconic portrayal of Chandler Bing on the long-running sitcom Friends, Matthew Perry won international recognition and critical acclaim throughout his prolific Hollywood career. There is no doubt that he will be truly missed.
First up, Jay Moore. Jay Moore threw some serious shade Jennifer Aniston's way when he accused her of being mad that she had to play his love interest in a movie. Basically, she felt the casting could have gotten a more attractive person to act alongside her. It started in 2010 when Elle asked him what his most awkward interaction with a female celebrity was. He responded, not giving names, but describing a situation when an actress got very angry after learning that Moore was playing her love interest in a movie. Apparently, after she learned the news, she said, quote, "You've got to be kidding me," right to his face. That interaction led Moore to, quote, "go to my mom's house and cry." He was specifically asked if the woman he was talking about was Jennifer Aniston because she was his love interest in the 1997 film Picture Perfect. Moore said, quote, "I will never ever answer that." But shortly after, he did answer who he was talking about. While on his More Stories podcast, he confirmed it was Aniston after all. He claimed she went up to him, pointed at him, and yelled, quote, "6 guys they screen test. 6. The one effing guy I hate, this is the guy they hired. Him." Apparently, this kind of berating went on for an entire day, and she kept trash-talking him to other people, including their mutual co-stars. In summary, he said that she was so mean to him, and it clearly left a huge impact. So much so that he will not stop bringing it up. In 2016, during a Sports Illustrated interview, he was asked what was more satisfying, kissing Jen Aniston or firing Tom Cruise's character in Jerry Maguire. Moore answered, quote, "Without question, firing Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is hotter." Probably not the answer that most people were expecting. John Mayer. Most of Jennifer Aniston's ex-boyfriends have nothing but good things to say about her. However, John Mayer took some not-so-subtle digs during an interview after their split. Mayer's 2010 interview with Playboy is pretty infamous in the celebrity world for being one of the shadiest ever, and revealing things he probably should have kept secret, things including some shady digs toward Jen. In the interview, he accused Jen of being someone who is not good with technology, and even refuses to learn new ways to do things, saying, quote, "If Jennifer Aniston knows how to use BitTorrent, I'll eat my effing shoe." While Mayer was getting into Twitter and other social media platforms, he claimed that Aniston was keeping herself away from technological advances. He added, quote, "The brunt of her success came before TMZ and Twitter. I think she's still hoping it goes back to 1998. He even brought up their age difference. Aniston was older by 8 years, saying, quote, "I can't change the fact that I need to be 32. Joan Rivers. The late comedian was not known to keep her opinions to herself, and she didn't hold back about her negative feelings toward Jennifer Aniston. In a 2011 interview, Rivers said about Aniston, quote, "I would like to take Jennifer Aniston and put her hair over her effing face. I'm so bored with her and her stupid movies. They're all the same. I don't know how they get financed." Then when she was asked who she doesn't want to see on the Oscars red carpet, Rivers replied, "Jennifer Aniston. Quote, I don't want to see Jennifer Jennifer Aniston say, "Boo hoo hoo, Brad Pitt left me, get the F over it." In her book Joan Rivers Confidential, Rivers made another savage comment about Jen. Quote, "Even if Jennifer does become pregnant, Angelina Jolie will get the baby." Kristen Stewart. It's not clear if this is just a rumor or not, but gossip magazine The National Enquirer claimed they had good reason to believe that Kristen Stewart does not like Jennifer Aniston. Back in 2013, Kristen Stewart was allegedly annoyed that Aniston was getting a lot more press than her. The source who shared this claimed it was clear that Kristen was jealous of Jen. At the time, Stewart was struggling with confidence issues and could not understand why Aniston managed to, quote, "hog the headlines every time with little effort." Stewart apparently also added that Aniston's feud with Angelina Jolie gave her a huge bump in the press and nobody would have cared about her otherwise. The source added that Kristen Stewart said, quote, "If it wasn't for her bitter rivalry with Angelina, Jen would not be this famous these days at all." Again, take this one with a grain of salt, but I'm sure Stewart is not the only person with these feelings. Tim Gunn. Tim Gunn is another person who does not hold back their feelings, and that was no exception in the case of Jennifer Aniston. After her 2008 split from John Mayer, Gunn felt she was completely desperate and would continue with her trope of playing the victim. At a launch party event, he said about Aniston, quote, "Sometimes I think she has a desperate character written on her," adding, "The clothes we wear send a message. I think that's the message. I don't think it's her intention though." Clearly, Gunn thinks her perpetual victim card is all an act, and she's really just desperate for attention. Bill O'Reilly. Aniston and Bill O'Reilly got into a strange feud after Aniston made some comments about children while promoting her 2010 movie, The Switch. For a summary on the movie, Aniston's character wants to have a child, and because she is single, she decides to get a sperm donor and has a child with that donor's help, clearly showing a new take on motherhood in the modern era. While promoting the film, she said that, quote, "Times have changed when it comes to the way that people think about family." Aniston added that single motherhood is quite beautiful because there are children that don't have homes that have a home and can be loved, and that's extremely important. She obviously wasn't intending to start a controversy with these comments, but she did anyways when Fox News host Bill O'Reilly trashed her comments on the O'Reilly factor. He said that her comments told young women that their children don't need fathers, which would be destructive to our society. Aniston, who doesn't usually comment on this stuff, decided to clap back, saying, quote, "I never actually thought my name and that name would ever be in one sentence." She added that she only responded to the ridiculous comments because they insulted the women that are out there doing this on their own. Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan shared his disdain for Jennifer Aniston after he felt that she was overly emotional during a Q&A segment. In 2016, she answered the question if she ever doubted herself by saying, quote, "We're all human beings at the end of the day," while wiping tears from her eyes, voice quivering, adding, quote, "Don't punish yourself if you feel that." Fans love the genuine moment because it's a great feeling knowing that even celebrities have their fair share of bad times. But Piers did not take kindly to her vulnerability and felt it was completely fake. So the following week on Good Morning Britain, Morgan claimed that she was, quote, "self-wallowing and needed to get a grip," adding, quote, "Nobody forced Aniston to do her naked magazine shoots," then reminding her that her problems don't really matter because half of the world is starving. Then later in 2016, he also took the time to respond to an article that Aniston wrote trashing the media, where she shared how she was fed up with body shaming and scrutiny that she received. Morgan responded that she should dismount that high horse. In 2017, Aniston responded to that by saying, quote, "You're always going to have the Piers Morgans of the world contradicting something that comes from the heart and saying you're a hypocrite." The Friends cast. Even though the cast of Friends make it seem like they always got along perfectly, that was not always the case, and there was a point in time where the entire Friends cast hated Jen Aniston. When the show was really taking off, it was clear that fans and the media loved Jen's character the most, and she was getting the most press for everything including her signature haircut. Her female co-stars got very jealous of all the attention, and that translated into real-life feelings. Courtney Cox and Lisa Kudrow were described as, quote, "very jealous of Jen." The source added, quote, "Everyone wanted to interview Jen, and her Rachel's hair became such a phenomenon that was the only thing people talked about. They were supposed to be a team, but all anyone cared about was Jen and her stupid hair. It got very annoying." And it was not only the women in the group that had a problem with Jen. The men also were not fond of her either. The source continued, quote, "The boys gave her a hard time," claiming that Matthew Perry and Matt LeBlanc also made mean-spirited jokes at Jen's expense. They felt that she thought that she was better than they were. Thankfully for Aniston, the tension did not last long and the cast united together to negotiate salaries of $1 million per episode each. After they won the compensation battle, things simmered. Quote, "They eventually realized the whole fame thing was out of their hands, and they grew up and grew closer as a cast. And now the cast remain good friends to this day. It was even alleged that Matthew Perry and Aniston had a fling back in the day."
Starting off the list at number 10 is James Michael Tyler, also known as Gunther. Good old Gunther. Did you guys know that Gunther wasn't actually supposed to be a recurring character on the show? The actor has come forward with the real story and explained that he was an actual extra on set that day, and he was the only one who knew how to work the espresso machine. But they ended up loving the dynamic he created with the other characters, so they kept him in. He didn't actually have a line until the 33rd episode, and from there his character just kind of formed his own backstory. So where is he now? Well, first off, his hair is not white. It's actually brown, and he's living in downtown LA near the Hollywood sign and admits that people will often recognize him as Gunther and ask for a selfie. As for acting, he hasn't really been in anything since 2013. He's kinda just living life like a normal guy now. He still keeps in touch with the rest of the cast from time to time, but isn't really into the idea of a reboot. When asked about it, he said, "I don't know if a reboot would have the same weight or quality. It won't even be close to as good as what it was, so why do it? For the fans, Gunther. Do it for the fans." Up next, number 9 is Maggie Wheeler, who took on the iconic role of Janice. You know, the girl who always like, "Oh my god, Chandler Bing." You can probably still hear it, you know, the laugh, the one that sounds like a dolphin. Have you ever wondered what happened to the nasal voice legend? Well, after Friends went off the air, she got into some other big shows like ER, How I Met Your Mother, and Californication. She's created a great career for herself, and her latest gig is voicing Trudy Pickering in the new Addams Family movie. As for her personal life, she's now 58 years old and has been happily married since 1990. She's also a mom. She has 2 daughters named Juno and Gemma. And personally, if I was friends with her daughters, I would go to their house and ask Maggie to do the laugh, like all the time. She probably gets asked to do that all the time, and it's probably super annoying for her. As for a possible reunion, she is on board for it. During an interview with Today Extra, she said, "I think a reunion in many ways would be great fun and a wonderful celebration, but it is unlikely to happen." Well, way to crush all my dreams, Janice. Swiping the number 8 spot is Callie and Noelle Sheldon. They count as one because they are twins and they took turns playing the same character. I bet you're wondering what Emma would look like nowadays, Rachel and Ross's beautiful little girl. The twins are now 17 years old, and when Friends celebrated their 25th anniversary back in September of this year, they posted some old pictures from their time on set. One picture showed Emma looking happy, surrounded by Jennifer Aniston, Courtney Cox, and Lisa Kudrow. And in the other picture was Jennifer cozied up in a chair holding baby Emma like she was truly her own. The twins posted the pictures to their Instagram and captioned it, "The one where it all began." So what are the teenagers up to now? They are pursuing an acting career and recently starred in Jordan Peele's latest thriller movie, Us. When it comes to Friends, they confess that they don't actually remember being on the show, obviously, because they were babies. And they said that they weren't actually allowed to watch the show until they were 13 years old. But their mom was on set with them every day and said, "Everyone was really nice to Noelle and Callie and treated them like princesses on the set." How cool would it be to walk around saying that you were Rachel Green's daughter? I'm so jealous of that. That'd be so cool. I would totally play that up in high school. And our number 7 spot is Giovanni Ribisi, but you would know him better as Frank Buffet, Phoebe's weird high-strung brother, or just high. There's no denying he played the part perfectly, and since leaving the show in 2003, he has had a very successful acting career. His resume is filled with a ton of different movies and television series, some of them being My Name is Earl, Ted, Entourage, and Avatar. That is right, he landed himself the role of Parker Selfridge in one of the biggest grossing movie series of all time. So he's done a lot better than Frank Buffet probably did. As for his personal life, he's been a big activist for Scientology throughout the years, and although his character Frank couldn't have kids on the Friends series, he has 2 twins of his own, which is a coincidence. He welcomed them home earlier this year with his wife, a designer named Emily Ward, and they are one cute little family. Cruising into the number 6 spot is Matthew Perry, also known as Chandler Bing. Now his story isn't as happy as the other ones on this list. As Chandler, he won over the hearts of millions and even got nominated for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Comedy Series at the Emmys back in 2002, but throughout his entire career he has suffered from a drug addiction. After Friends had its final season, Matthew went on to star in some other things like 17 Again, Scrubs, and The Odd Couple, but he hasn't booked a role in years, and that is because news headlines have surfaced about his rehab stints and sex scandals. The addiction came for him back in 1997 after he got into a jet ski accident and got hooked on Vicodin. Since then he hasn't been able to stay sober, his life is full of drinking and drugs, and he is currently currently bouncing between hotels around LA. We would be lying if we said he wasn't looking a little rough these days. He just turned 50 a few months ago and he looks like a different person in the pictures. He did appear in Jennifer Aniston's epic Instagram picture where the cast was all reunited and hanging out, but when asked about doing a reboot, he says he doesn't want it, only because he has this fear that no one will care anymore. He said, "I have this nightmare that we do Friends again and nobody cares. The thing is, we ended on such a high, we can't beat it. Why would we go and do it again?" Damn it, Chandler! We care! How do they think that the fans don't care? We care. Please give us a reboot. Halfway through list number 5 is Courtney Cox, our favorite over-the-top OCD crazy person, Monica Geller, aka me. If I was a Friends character, I would definitely be Monica. Originally, Courtney auditioned for the role of Rachel, but the producer thought she was a better fit for Monica, and I think it is safe to say they made the right decision in the end. She is the perfect, perfectionist, bossy, competitive, obsessive Monica that we all came to know and love, or you hated her. Since leaving the show, she continued to add some things to her acting resume, like a lead role on the TV series Cougar Town, but for the most part she keeps a pretty low profile. She went through a divorce with her ex-husband David Arquette, but they welcomed a daughter named Coco in their family beforehand. She remains incredibly close with her daughter, who I can imagine has probably seen every Friends episode ever. Good news is she is all for a reboot, or a reunion, whatever. Back in 2018 she said that she would love to do it, but that she doesn't think it'll happen. She spoke with People magazine and said, "I would do anything to be in a room with all those people acting and having a great time, but I don't see it happening. I am personally crossing my fingers that she is wrong about that." Up next, number 4 is David Schwimmer. He played Ross on the series, Monica's brother and Rachel's boyfriend, and ex-boyfriend, depending on if you believe that they were on a break or not. Since the series ended, he's had other roles like the voice of Melman in Madagascar, TV series American Crime Story, and currently he's playing Noah Broder in Will and Grace. So he's still acting and he's been able to keep a successful career ever since then. In his personal life, he has been married to Zoe Buckman since 2010, so it looks like he had more luck than Ross when it comes to marriage. And like his character Ross, he is also a dad. He has a beautiful daughter, but she's still too young to fully understand just how big of a deal her dad really is. But he doesn't think a Friends reunion would work. When speaking to Megyn Kelly today, he explained and said, "Look, the thing is, I just don't know if I want to see all of us with crutches and walkers. I doubt it, I really doubt it." Why is everyone so negative about this reunion or reboot? Have a little faith. I would love to see all of you in a walker, a wheelchair. You could be on a deathbed and I'd still want to see you. I don't even care if they all died in the series. Like, let me just see you one last time. Alright guys, in our third spot is Lisa Kudrow, but the world knows her as Phoebe Buffay. Her hilarious character won over our hearts as she played the part-time masseuse and horrible self-taught musician. After the series ended, she still continued to act and even went on to produce, write, and star in HBO's comedy series called The Comeback. She's also one of the executive producers of the TLC reality show called Who Do You Think You Are? But when she's not producing, she is busy booking any acting roles that she can, and she's also busy being a mom. She's been married to Michael Stern since 1995 and they had one son together named Julian. He is 21 years old now, so we can assume that he's watched the entire series by now. But we have another non-believer when it comes to doing a reboot or some kind of reunion. In 2018, she was asked if she wanted to do a reunion and she said, "It would be fun, but what would it be about?" Think about it. The thing we liked best about the show was that they were 20-somethings and they were their own family. Now they all have families, so what are we going to watch? We would watch your families! I was just saying to Chris, I think it'd be just as entertaining to see the cast as parents. Who agrees with me? Tell me in the comments. In spot number 2 is Matthew LeBlanc, but most people call him Joey Tribbiani. If I had to guess, I would say he is a fan favorite character for a lot of people. His ridiculous sense of humor and the fact that he is a struggling actor who gets crappy roles and just eats a lot of food all the time. After his success on Friends, his character actually got its own spin-off show called Joey. It lasted 2 seasons and then got cancelled in 2006, and we didn't see Matt again for 5 years. But he started to make his way back into acting in 2011 when he starred on Episodes. He even won himself a 2012 Golden Globe for Best Actor in a TV series. You can currently find him taking the lead as Adam Burns in the TV series called Man with a Plan. He's doing really well for himself as an actor, to say the least. He was once married to Melissa McKnight, but they got divorced in 2006, but the two of them share a beautiful daughter who is now 15 years old. So, what does Joey think about bringing Friends back? No. and he is blunt about it. He told Mail Online earlier this year, I quote, "I don't want to do it. Simple. I think it's better for people to just leave it." Well, if Joey was my favorite, he is not anymore. In our number 1 spot is the one and only Jennifer Aniston, who played Rachel Green throughout the 10-year series. When she first auditioned for the show, the producers had her try out for the role of Monica, but they made the switch after feeling that Courtney was better for it. Unlike the other cast members, we don't really need a big update on what she's up to now, because after Friends ended, she just transformed herself into a big movie star. We know what she's up to because she's all over our big screens. She is one of the highest paid actresses in Hollywood and earned a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame back in 2012. Her latest role is Alex Levy in the brand new TV series called The Morning Show. As for her personal life, she has gone through 2 divorces since Friends went off the air, so I guess she is Ross. She is currently single and has no kids, so gentlemen, there's still a chance. And to top it all off, she is the only person who actually seems excited at the possibility of a reunion. She told Ellen DeGeneres that she thinks it is wonderful and that she misses the show every day. So maybe she can knock some sense into the rest of the gang and rally the troops for a new season. Here's hoping. Here's really frickin' hoping. They're in talks, baby. That's step 1. Step 1. They're in talks. Beginning our list number 10 is Robin Williams. The beloved actor and comedian appeared as a guest star in an episode back in 1997. It was during season 3, the episode called The One with the Ultimate Fighting Champion. Considering how big of an actor he was at the time, having him on the show was a huge deal. And still is. He appears at the start of the episode when Monica is about to tell the rest of the gang a story at Central Perk. But she gets interrupted by 2 customers, Thomas and Tim, one of them being played by Robin Williams. They ask Monica and the gang to make room for them on the iconic couch, and when they do, they eavesdrop on the men's convo as Robin's character breaks out into tears, claiming that his wife is sleeping with another man. Turns out, the other man was his friend Tim, who is sitting right next to him. So they end up getting into this big fight and they leave the coffee shop. Robin's scene was short, but that's because it was not planned. He was actually on a nearby set at the time the episode was being filmed, and he wandered onto the friend's set where the writers asked if he would be up for a quick cameo. Billy Crystal, who played Tim, was also working with him and then just joined in on the fun. Their entire scene was actually improv, including the dialogue with the rest of the cast. But it will still forever go down in history. Up next, number 9 is Reese Witherspoon. She played Rachel Green's spoiled younger sister Jill, and no one could deny the hilarious chemistry between her and Jennifer Aniston. But when Reese was asked to make a return to the show, she declined, which is weird because most actors would have jumped at that opportunity. Just a few days ago, Reese revealed that she turned down the offer because she didn't like performing in front of a live audience. For those of you who might not know, Friends is actually filmed in front of an audience, so all the laughs and reactions that you hear are actually real. Reese admitted that she was so nervous while filming that she completely blacked out during her experience. Of course, we couldn't tell because she naturally did a good job in her performance, but that was the one and only time she has ever filmed with a live audience. When talking to AP Entertainment, she said, "I've never done it again. They asked me to go back and I said I couldn't do it. I was too scared." Her co-star Jennifer was with her during the time of this interview, and she was a little disappointed because she had no idea. But if you want to see them on the screen together, you can, because they are on a TV series right now called The Morning Show. Look how that works out. Cruising into number 8 is Danny DeVito, the legend. He appeared in an episode in season 10 called The One Where the Stripper Cries, and it's probably the best cameo in the history of television. He appeared as a man named Roy who showed up to Phoebe's bachelorette party as a stripper named Officer Goodbody, although there was nothing good about his body. The girls booked him last minute, so it was basically all they had left. He does this hilarious and awful stripping dance number that actually has some of the cast members laughing during the scene, and they just kept it in. But Phoebe can't keep her disgust to herself, and he ends up breaking down into tears and decides to leave the stripping profession forever. Now, after all these years, the actor has talked about that legendary episode. He admitted that he got the cameo in the first place because Jennifer Aniston was his neighbor at the time and she hooked him up with the gig. He told People TV, "I didn't go down as far as I would like to have gone, but that's okay. How could you pass up a chance to strip for the lovely ladies on Friends? Wouldn't miss it for the world." And we are so glad that you didn't, Danny. Sniping the number 7 spot on our list is Paul Rudd. Nowadays, you are probably used to seeing him in the Marvel Universe taking on the role of Ant-Man. But there was once a time when he was on Friends and he played Phoebe's husband, Mike Hannigan. The relationship was a fan favorite, and that probably came after the episode where they changed their names to Crap Bag and Princess Consuelo Banana Hammock. We watched their relationship grow from just dating to being engaged engaged to saying I do at the altar. He played a big part in the final season of the series. He was first introduced in season 9 and played her love interest for a total of 17 episodes. And even though he's huge in the MCU right now, the actor says that people always bring up his time on Friends. During an interview with ABC News, he admitted that people will go up to him on the streets and say, "How's Phoebe?" Fun fact though, apparently Mike and Phoebe weren't supposed to end up together originally. Actor Hank Azaria, who played her ex-boyfriend David, revealed that it was his character who was supposed to marry her. He spoke on it and said, "The plan was to bring David back, but I think what happened was Paul Rudd is so awesome that they sort of found a groove with him." No hard feelings though. He also said that Paul Rudd was comedically deserving of Phoebe's love. So all is good in the hood. In spot number 6 is Julia Roberts. For pretty much an entire generation, she was the most famous woman on the planet. That's why it was such a big deal to Friends fans when she made her way onto the show. She played the role of a girl named Susie that Chandler once tormented when they were kids, but then many years later he goes on a date with her after seeing that she looks like Julia Roberts. A total babe. But her time on the show ends with an epic scene where she tricks him into going to a restaurant bathroom for him to put her panties on. She tells him it's just something kinky that she's into. But when he does, she takes all of his clothes and runs away as payback for when he used to torment her as a kid. The reason behind the cameo later came to surface, and they actually asked Julia to be on the show because of the Super Bowl in 1996. Part 1 and 2 of episode 13 was scheduled to air after the Super Bowl, so NBC knew that they needed something big to keep the viewers watching. What better way than to hire Julia Roberts as a guest star? Good call on their end. Halfway through list number 5 is Charlie Sheen. Phoebe had a handful of love interests throughout the series, and Charlie Sheen was one of them. A military man named Ryan. He appeared in season 2 on the episode called The One with the Chicken Pox, where he and Phoebe both get the chicken pox during what was supposed to be a romantic weekend together. After spending months being submerged inside of a submarine, he resurfaces and asks Phoebe on a date even though she had the chicken pox. How romantic. But he ended up getting screwed over because he got them from her, and then they were both infected, uncomfortable, itchy, and couldn't even enjoy their time together. The co-creator of the show, Marta Kaufman, sat down for an interview recently and was asked if she regrets anything from the show. She revealed that there were 2 episodes and this was one of them. She said, "It's much harder for me to enjoy the good moments when there are moments in it where I'm going, oh my god, we let that happen? We did that?" Nothing against Sheen's performance, but the episode wasn't really anything special in my opinion, and it kinda gets overshadowed by all the other really good ones. In spot number 4 is George Clooney. He played one of the handsome doctors during a season 1 episode called The One with Two Parts. In the episode, he teams up with actor Noah Wilde to play the 2 hot doctors that end up flirting with Monica and Rachel. The girls end up in the emergency room after Rachel hurts her ankle, and they switch names so that she can use Monica's health insurance. But while they are there, they run into the 2 doctors and they ask to go out on a double date. What's funny about this cameo is that it was kind of a crossover to the TV series ER, where both the actors played doctors. The whole episode is basically everyone deceiving each other. Monica and Rachel change names and don't tell the doctors, and Clooney and Wilde change the names of their ER characters to other handsome doctor names. It's not actually this big elaborate crossover that was planned to happen, but it's pretty cool that it worked out that way. And I'm not gonna lie, when I first watched this episode, I didn't even recognize that it was George Clooney. It went right over my head. But that's because he looks really young, no offense. Alright guys, in the 3rd spot is the hilarious Christina Applegate. Her character is actually one of my favorites. She took on the show of Rachel's sister Amy, a really rude and shallow girl, but absolutely hilarious. She appeared in a few different episodes throughout the series, but from one of them came one of the most memorable jokes of the show. It's when Amy refuses to remember that Phoebe's name isn't Emma and doesn't understand why Phoebe keeps saying Phoebe. That's when Amy asks, why does she keep making that noise? Applegate later revealed while talking to Today.com that the famous line almost didn't happen. She said, "That was written as a rewrite in front of the live audience." But it seemed to pay off because she actually won an Emmy for her guest appearance, and if it wasn't for the actual line itself, it was the way that she delivered it that won her that award. It was perfect. Here we are number 2 with Bruce Willis. He showed up in 3 episodes during season 6, and his guest appearance was also a huge fan favorite because the overall storyline was hysterical. He took on the role of Paul Stevens, who happened to be the father of Elizabeth Stevens, Ross's girlfriend. Seeing as Ross was Elizabeth's professor, her dad wasn't too pleased with the relationship. Throughout the few episodes, he starts to date Rachel, so it's this incredibly awkward double dating situation. Bruce also won an Emmy for his performance on the series, but the story of how he got his cameo cameo is the best part of everything. It was later revealed that he ended up on the show because of a bet. Bruce Willis and Matthew Perry, Chandler, met while filming the movie The Whole 9 Yards. Bruce didn't think it would do well at the box office, but Matthew thought that it would. So they made a bet that if the movie was #1 at the box office, he had to appear on Matthew's show Friends. I'd also like to point out that Bruce donated the money that he earned for the guest appearance to 5 different charities. So he deserves more than an Emmy in my opinion. What a sweet man. In our #1 spot is the legendary hottie Brad Pitt. It was back in 2001 when he appeared on a season 8 episode titled The One with the Rumor. He took on the role of Will Colbert, a man who was holding a grudge towards Rachel, who he went to high school with, and he says she wasn't nice to him. Yes, Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt were once married, so this cameo goes down in history. But his character Will is so angry because he lost 150 pounds since high school, and Rachel started to flirt with him because she didn't even recognize him. He was invited over for Thanksgiving by Monica because she was friends with him in high school, seeing as they were both the fat kids. So the whole episode is Brad Pitt making fun of his ex-wife and making up a rumor that she was a hermaphrodite. Brad recently took a trip down memory lane and talked about his experience on the show. Apparently he messed up his first line when he went for the audition. He told Us Weekly, "I remember it. It's a great cast, man. I mean, they laugh and really have a great time with each other. But I flubbed my first line and we had to stop and start again." We can forgive him for that though. Nothing is more iconic than the pairing of Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston. It's genius. Well, there you have it guys, that is our top 10 Friends countdown. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and share your thoughts with me down in the comments. In the meantime, let's check out some comments from my last Friends list. Christina Dunbar says, "I love the show Friends, my favorite is Joey." I think he's a favorite for a lot of people. My personal favorite is Ross. I used to hate Ross. Now as I got older, I love Ross. Tiffany V says, "I watched it growing up, but I agree, don't do a reboot or reunion. Leave the show on a high note. Sorry." Don't be sorry, I totally get that. Everyone can have their own opinion. I just feel like no matter what they do now, it won't affect anything that's happened. Like the show was already a huge success, so even if a reboot didn't do well, doesn't matter. Malali Charlie Man says, "I miss the old Matthew Perry." Same. But there's still hope, you guys. Candace P says, "Anyone remember the epic fail that was Gilmore Girls reunion? No? LOL, that's why they shouldn't." Hey now, wait a minute, I loved the reunion. Was that considered like a fail to other people? Because I really liked it. Alright, that is our Friends list. If you are a Friends fan, hit the thumbs up button, and if you're not, hit it anyway, for me. You can keep watching more of our videos, just stay on this screen, but in the meantime, you can catch the bonus content that will start right now. I could never do an improv scene like that, like it looked completely scripted. But Robin Williams his spirit is with us.